Happy Monday, folks. You didn't think I'd come back, did you? I mean, I honestly didn't know if I would either. But here I am. Monday. I have to tell you that the first thing that's on my mind is the fact that I made this order at ShopRite for pickup, and I have to pick it up in like an hour. So my mind is like, oh my gosh, I have to be there an hour. Make sure that I don't take too long here because I have to be there in an hour, and if I'm not, I'm gonna get scolded. Ridiculous, I know. The second thing that's on my mind is that I'm still kind of in this like rut. I'm in this little like tornado of anxiety, and last night it kind of really came up and sparked again. Before that, the weekend was good. The weekend was nice. I enjoyed myself. I had a nice weekend, relaxed, and just, watch TV and just relax. I had a nice, a nice, good weekend. And until last night. And I know it's because I'm still in this cycle that I've been in for the last 3 weeks, basically this entire month at this point. And I'm not out of it yet. And what gets me is that I cannot really, or I don't really allow myself to be in it at all. I don't really allow myself to just feel kind of down or feel kind of out of it or feel, that I have anxiety, because if it lasts more than a week for me, then my mind goes to, this is it, this is how I'm going to feel forever. I mean, even if it lasts 2 or 3 days, that's where my mind goes to, this is it, I'm going to be stuck here forever, I'm never going to come out of this, what am I going to do? And it panics, and I feel like now I have to try all these different things, or, maybe I should be on medication again, maybe that's it, maybe I have to do that because I'll never get out of this. And because it's lasted about a month, on and off, now I'm not saying that every single day this month has been horrible, because it hasn't. I've had good days. Like I said, this weekend wasn't a total, shot. I had a good weekend. I enjoyed my days. I enjoyed Friday, I enjoyed Saturday, I enjoyed Sunday up until the nighttime when it came in. And even today wasn't bad. But my mind, because of last night, because of this entire month or the last 3 weeks and how they've played out, the thoughts of me being stuck and me needing a way out and me possibly being on medication, also, known as antidepressants, has come up and has been on my mind, buzzing, of maybe this is what I need to do. Maybe I have to get back onto these, and maybe that's my, solution. Maybe that's all I can do, because I'm not going to be able to get out of it myself, because I haven't gotten out of it myself, quote unquote. Though I've been making it through just fine, and I know that life isn't perfect, and we're going to have down moments, and we're not going to be able to always be up and upbeat. Life isn't always about being on 10. You're going to be on 3, you're going to be on 4, you're going to be on 5 some days. You're not always going to be able to be on 10. And I know that. I understand that. But my mind doesn't see it that way. My mind thinks that, or sees or views that if I'm on 1 for more than a few days or a few weeks, that I'm done. I'm stuck. I'm lost again. I need help. I have to get out of this. I'm ruined. I'm broken. I'm wrong. I need a fix. And the fix, the big fix, quote unquote, will be to go back onto medication. And medication for me is always triggering. And the reason it's triggering for me is because I see my body and my brain as a self-healing mechanism. I view it that way. I view that my body, my brain can heal itself. My brain can rewire itself if it needs to, and my brain can heal anything that goes on physically with it. with the help. I'm not saying that I totally dismiss any sort of medication. Like if I had a headache, of course I'm gonna take some, Motrin or Tylenol. If I had a cold, of course I'm gonna take some cold relief or, sinus relief or whatever. Or if I had an infection, I'm gonna take an antibiotic. I get it. I'm not totally against medication because yes, it has a huge part in healing us or helping us get through pain or get through sickness. Yes, 100% agree. But antidepressants for me is it's a very hard topic to talk about. This is something that I don't like to have a conversation with anybody with, because it's a hard topic, because having to be on it for myself makes me feel like I am broken, or that I can't be fixed, or I can't fix me. That's my viewpoint. Now, it's not my viewpoint on other people, of course not. My viewpoint of someone else, because I know tons of people, I know millions of Americans that are on it, and just, that number increases as the years go on. I know that, and I know people that are on it and have been on it for quite some time. And I don't judge them. I honestly don't. I don't think that they're broken. I don't think that any less of them as a person because they're on it. Honestly, if I know that somebody is on it, I honestly actually view them as being brave, oddly enough. I actually have I'm actually proud of them for seeking the help and getting the help that they need. And if it's working for them, that's even better. I feel like it's a great aid. And I was on medication before. About 11 plus years ago, I was put on an antidepressant because my anxiety, my panic attacks were so severe, and I was having them every 2 to 3 days. I could not go that long without having them. But at the time, I had no self-awareness. At the time, I had no idea what they were to begin with, the panic attacks. I had no idea what was triggering them. I had no idea how to stop them, how to control them, what the telltale signs were for them. They would just happen to me. And back then, I felt like my only solution, because I was completely lost, was to be on an antidepressant. And I was okay with that. But something told me early on in that process of being on them that I didn't have to be on them forever. And I know that's still the case. I know that if I were to go that route again because I feel like I need that help, that I could always wean myself off of it at some point. I don't have to be on it all the time. I don't have to be on it for the rest of my life. That isn't something that's automatically determined for me. That's not something that I have to do. I know that. It's just a very hard, touchy subject for me. Because when I was on it, I was able to basically, for the first couple of years, get my life back together. Because it interrupted basically everything in my life. I was just starting college classes. I was working 2 jobs actually at the time. And just trying to be social, also going out, enjoying life, doing things, trying new things, driving to new places, exploring. I was that kid. I was a freshman in college. So at that time, when it all kind of collapsed in front of me and I felt like I basically lost everything, that was my solution. And the first year or 2 was really just to get some of those things back, to get my job back, to determine whether or not I wanted to continue college courses, and if I did, what was my major actually going to be, because I was very indecisive. I didn't know what I wanted to do back then. And even to this day, I can honestly tell you I don't know what I want to do with my life, so to speak. But I felt like I needed to choose something. So there was pressure in that. So I was trying to figure that out. I was trying to work to make money. I was also trying to keep somewhat of a social life together. Not really interested in a relationship at that time because I was just trying to figure out my day-to-day life. So that was my main focus those first couple years that I was on the antidepressant, was trying to just calm my symptoms down enough where I could walk and talk and live everyday life normally. And that's what it did for me. It helped me do that. But again, back then I had absolutely no self-awareness. Maybe a small fraction, but nothing compared to the self-awareness I would say that I have now. If we were to stand next to each other and have a conversation, you would think there were two very different people. And I honestly believe we were two very different people, or are two very, very different people. So I had no self-awareness. And back then I did try to go to therapy and try to figure out, what was triggering me, how to cope with that, with having panic attacks, how to cope with my emotions, those things. I didn't stay in therapy for long because I didn't find anybody that I resonated with enough to continue with them. So I stopped in that attempt on the mindset. So my mindset was still kind of flustered. It wasn't until my 3rd or 4th year being on the antidepressant that I actually took control of my life. I mean, my symptoms were at bay, so to speak. They weren't as bad, but they still came. I still had panic attacks. I still had anxiety attacks. It wasn't like they were totally gone from my life. That wasn't the case. And I know that that wouldn't not be the case if I were to get back onto an antidepressant. But back then, I still had them. But I wasn't working on myself. I wasn't working on my mindset, my triggers, figuring out what it was that was causing this, or how to deal with it if it came up. That wasn't happening. It wasn't happening until basically the last year or two that I was on it, like 4 years in or so, when my body seemed to be sort of at bay, and I felt like I was understanding my anxiety more. I was understanding what it was to go through a panic attack and being able to get through it all the way and not having to, completely combust, so to speak. So I was learning all of that. And then I started working on my mindset. I started working on how I perceive the world due to, honestly, meditation, spiritual teachings, self-help books, as they call them. I started investing in that. And when I started investing in those things and listening and reading and meditating and doing all of those things, is when my life started changing. My mindset started changing. My self-awareness started growing. My mindset started changing. And I started trying to face certain fears, certain discomforts. I started trying to get past and get to a point of healing, basically. I was basically putting in the work to heal. And then I decided that I felt good enough or confident enough that I didn't have to be on the antidepressant anymore. So I slowly weaned myself off, of course with my doctor's supervision, because those things can be intense. So I started weaning myself off, and then I was completely off. And then I still had moments, and I was at a point where I was constantly putting in the work of working on my mindset, working on my self-awareness, working on how I talk to myself, those things. And that was like 8-ish years ago. And now, because I had a bad month, I'm running to the fastest solution, or it's being brought up because, people don't want to see me in pain, which I get and I appreciate. But it's a conversation or a thought that I have a lot of judgment towards. I don't know why. Well, I mean, I guess I do. I mean, I guess I do, because I did say it earlier. My judgment towards it is really, you know, me confirming, if I decide to go down this route again, it's confirming I'm broken, or me feeling like, yes, the antidepressant could help me symptomatically. Granted, it will help me symptomatically. But of course, I will still have to put in the work mentally. I still have to change my mindset. I'll still have to work on how I view the world, work on my relationships, work on my performance at work, possibly, or any other of my triggers, whatever it is. It's still gonna have to work on it. So, granted, it'll help me symptomatically. There's still a lot of work that I will have to do, which I'm okay with, because I feel like I'm at a point where I can't not work on these things. Like, I'm constantly always working on these things. It's just right now I'm in the tornado. I'm really just in it, and it hasn't really let me go. And I have a lot of judgment towards that, because I feel that I should have gotten out of it already. The fact that I'm in it is my fault, and it really isn't. Like, how can I blame myself for this? And like I said, yes, it is my thoughts to some degree that is the cause of why I'm still in this tornado. But the antidepressant isn't going to get rid of my thoughts. It's going to get rid of the symptoms. So my symptoms are what cause fear. Granted, definitely causes fear, because they, that racing heart and the nausea, possible vomiting, the nerves just tingling up and down your body. Yeah, all of that. Those are fearful. I've had them about 100, 300, hundreds of times at this point. I know exactly what they feel like. I know exactly what it is. Even though sometimes, if you've seen any of those memes, it's like, am I sick, or am I just having anxiety? That goes through my mind literally all the time. I can almost never tell if I'm just being anxious or if I'm actually sick and something else is wrong, because anxiety has so many different symptoms that they literally can feel like your body's just giving up on you in some way. It can literally just feel like, having a kidney stone or having some sort of bladder infection. You just assume that it's anxiety. At least that's what I do. Everything that I have, a headache for 3 days in a row, I'm just assuming my anxiety is bad. I'm stressing out. Not I could possibly have a brain tumor. I mean, that thought does cross my mind, because I do have health anxiety. So my mind does go worst case scenario. I have brain cancer or an aneurysm and I'm gonna die. But am I gonna do anything about it? No, because my mind's like, it's just anxiety. You're cool. So I don't go to great lengths of trying to find help, because I can never distinguish between the two. So, with all that being said, I'm in this tornado. I know, I kind of skipped around a bit, but my point is the tornado that I'm currently in is a longer lasting tornado than I've had in a bit. I wouldn't say that I haven't had it this long before. There's a lot of mud everywhere. But it's been a lot longer than I've had in a while. And because of that, it's bringing up the uncomfortable conversation of an antidepressant. And I know that if I were to go that route, that I wouldn't have to be on it forever. Well aware of that. But there's also that thought that I may have to be. Or that I'm giving up on myself and I'm not going to be able to fully heal if I decide to go on that route. Good, how are you? I was gonna say, is the cat yours too? Yes. Okay. I know. It's all right. Hi.
Come on, Peter. Have a good one.
You too. Thanks. Oh my gosh, this cat is too cute. Hi. Hi. Thank you for that distraction. Gotta love a good dog, right? Dog passing by and a cat passing by. The best of both worlds. But like I was saying, those are the thoughts that are currently buzzing in my mind, is whether or not, or what I'm going to do, whether I'm going to choose to be on the antidepressant for a while, because I don't have to be on it forever, for it to at least get me to a point where I'm feeling calmer symptomatically, and then I can work on all this while this relaxes, because of course I still have to work on this all the time until, you know, maybe I get it to a good, calm, peaceful place. But the emotions are always going to be there. So I'm not trying to extinguish or numb my emotions, because that's also one of my concerns, is that I will numb my emotions, or being on the antidepressant will numb my emotions and cause me not to actually feel a lot of things, or it'll be too controlling of my emotions, so to speak. And I know that isn't always the case, because of course, like, once your body gets used to it, from my experience with it for the 4 to 5 years that I was on it, is that your emotions are always there. They're always there. It'll just help you kind of with your symptoms. It'll help you get through the day, whether you're happy or sad. It's not like this happy pill. I know that. I understand that. It's simply just symptomatic. And it's me saying all this, me putting all of this out right now, is not that easy. It seems really easy, maybe, because I've just put it all out there for you, and I didn't like physically cringe or anything. But it really isn't. This conversation I don't like to have with anybody. It's a conversation I avoid. It's a conversation I just don't enjoy, because of how judgmental my mind is. But I feel that I needed to get this out. I had to get this out in this way, where everything that I'm thinking about it is straight out, and nobody else is giving their opinion about it. Nobody else is interrupting my train of thought on it. Nobody else is telling me their experience on it, whether good or bad. It's strictly me placing it out completely, fully, all in one jumbled up 20-something minute video. Because anytime that I have this conversation, anytime that I think about medication, my mind spirals. The conversation with another person is often not one-sided, but I often shut down during it. I'll be completely honest. I shut down during the conversation because I'm afraid of their opinion so much, or their judgment, or their even them just giving me their experience. It's a very triggering subject for me. So me being open and honest and vulnerable about this right now feels good. Feels a little testy, because I don't want to offend anybody by what I'm saying, but I hope that everybody can understand that where I'm coming from, because like I said earlier, I don't judge other people that are on antidepressants. I really don't, because I honestly see them, because I see everybody pretty much as more successful than me. I honestly see that as something that makes them strong, and makes them brave, and I see nothing but strength in them for doing it, for deciding to go that route, because I know it probably wasn't easy for them to make that choice, or maybe it was easy for them to make that choice, but I see just genuine love for them making that choice. So I hope that nobody gets offended by my opinion on myself, my critical judgment on myself when it comes to taking an antidepressant. This is simply me expressing my thoughts, me expressing the critic in my mind, the critic in my head that's there 24/7. And I feel that the more I get her out and show her how full of crap she is, how mean she is, and that nobody else honestly believes her like I believe her, and sees that she's dishonest about who I am as a person. I feel like the more I can do that, the more I can disprove her for myself. The more I disprove her for myself, the less active she'll be. That's my goal with this, honestly. Is that the more critical thoughts that I get out, the less active I hope they'll be, which means the less critical I'll be on myself. And if that's the case, and if that works, then that's awesome. And I am hoping that that will happen. If it doesn't, it doesn't. That's all my thoughts for the day. I have a ShopRite order to pick up. And believe it or not, it was supposed to be rainy. And I love that the sun is out kind of right now. I mean, it's a little bit hot, but I can deal. If you made it this far, as usual, I appreciate you. I have love and respect for you. I hope you had an amazing weekend. I hope you have an amazing week. I hope to keep doing these. I hope you keep watching. I hope you keep enjoying. If there's anything that you want to add to the conversation, feel free to do so. I'm open to anything. I mean, I'll be honest, I don't do good with criticism, but I'm open to it. But thank you for watching. Hopefully I'll see you guys tomorrow. And love and respect. And see ya. Bye.